Chapter 1. The Brutal Truth. Let's stop lying to ourselves. You're not tired. You're not broken. And you're just caught in a cycle that's slowly killing your potential. Endless scrolling. Late night promises to start tomorrow. Convincing yourself that you're just waiting for the right time. But let's be real. Tomorrow isn't coming. You think your life is hard because of bad luck and because of what your parents didn't give you? Because the world isn't fair? What really stole your future was you. Every time you hit snooze instead of showing up. Every time you said just one more episode. Every time you avoided the hard thing because comfort was easier. You didn't get robbed. You gave it away. Now let's talk about the 1%, the ones everyone worships. You think they're special? You think they're just built different? They're not. They're not always the smartest. They're not the most talented, and they're definitely not the luckiest. What they are is obsessed with growth, with progress, with winning. They don't need to feel like it. They don't ask for motivation. They move, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts, because they know every excuse is just a story. And they don't tell stories, they write legacies. Meanwhile, what are you doing? You say you want success, Jeff, but you're addicted to comfort. You say you want freedom, but you worship distractions. You say you're stuck, but you built the trap yourself. This is the hardest truth to swallow. You are the architect of your own misery, and that means you're also the architect of your comeback. If you choose to be, but that window doesn't stay open forever. Every day you delay. You drift further from the life you could have had, not because you can't, but because you won't. So here's the question, who are you becoming with these choices, with these habits, with this mindset? Every skipped rep, every ignored opportunity, and every lazy day, they're not just mistakes. They're bricks. And you're building a prison you'll wake up trapped in 10 years from now. Regret is a heavy chain, and it only gets heavier the longer you wait. This isn't about talent. It's not about IQ. It's about obsession, discipline, and sacrifice. If you're not obsessed with your future, you'll be consumed by your past. The truth is brutal, but it's also beautiful. Because if you created this mess, you have the power to burn it down, to rebuild, to choose different. But no one's coming to save you. No mentor, no guru, no miracle. It's you. It's always been you. So what are you going to do about it? Chapter 2, the disease of average. Do you know what's more dangerous than failure? More lethal than rejection? More soul-crushing than defeat? Comfort, because failure wakes you up. But comfort slowly puts you to sleep. It whispers in your ear gently like a lullaby. You're doing okay. Take a break. You've earned it. There's always tomorrow. And at first it feels good. You relax, you slow down, you breathe a little easier. But while you're lying there convincing yourself you've done enough, someone out there is sprinting, grinding, bleeding, becoming unstoppable. And by the time you look up, they're gone, miles ahead, living the life you said you wanted. Comfort is the dream killer that doesn't shout, it whispers. And it makes you feel safe while it quietly robs you blind. The world owes you nothing. Let's be clear about something. The world doesn't owe you anything. Not respect, not recognition, not success. It doesn't care if your childhood was hard. It doesn't care about your trauma. It doesn't care how tired you are. The scoreboard doesn't pause because you had a bad day. It just keeps ticking. And when the game ends, nobody cares why you lost. Only that you did. So you can keep making excuses. Keep blaming your past. Keep telling stories about why you're not where you want to be. But understand this. Excuses are pain, dressed in nice clothes. They sound deep, they sound real, but they are lies. Lies that keep you average. Lies that make you feel better while your life stays exactly the same. Let's expose some of them. I'm too tired. No, you're undisciplined. I'm not ready. No, you're scared. What if I fail? What if you don't try and live the rest of your life wondering what could have been? Every excuse you've clung to is just fear wearing a mask. And the longer you entertain those lies, the harder it becomes to hear the truth. What the 1% do differently. The 1%, they don't negotiate with fear. They don't argue with excuses. They starve their weaknesses and feed their habits. They wake up when no one's watching. They train when nobody's clapping. They work when it's boring, painful, and lonely. Because they've chosen conviction over comfort. They've made peace with sacrifice. They've accepted that greatness costs something, and they're willing to pay in full with blood, sweat, and years of invisible work. You want to know why most people never change? Because average is easy. It doesn't require discipline, and it doesn't demand courage. It lets you blend in, hide, coast. It gives you permission to stay the same. And for a while, that feels safe. But over time, the safety turns into suffocation, and one day you wake up trapped in a life you never wanted. Not because you failed, but because you settled. And that's the real tragedy. Not that people fall, but that they never even tried to fly. The war is within. This battle you're fighting, it's not against the economy, it's not against your parents, and it's not against the system, it's you versus you. Every single day, and every time you choose distraction over discipline, comfort over courage, excuse over action, you lose ground not just on your goals, but on your identity, because every decision is a vote for the person you're becoming. So who are you voting for? The version of you that settles, or the version that rises? Imagine this. You wake up early, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You train even when your muscles scream. You study even when your brain is tired. You execute when no one claps, no one sees, and no one says thank you. You build brick by brick, and one day you look back at the pain, at the sacrifice, at all the days you wanted to quit and didn't. And you realize you've built something unbreakable, a life worth living, a character worth respecting, a legacy worth remembering. So here it is. The brutal truth. If you want to live a life most people never will, you have to do what most people never do. Stop waiting for the perfect moment and stop hoping it gets easier. Stop blaming your circumstances and start deciding, start committing, start becoming the kind of person who shows up no matter what. Because if you don't, comfort will consume you, excuses will define you, and one day you'll look in the mirror and meet the person you could have been and realize you were the only thing standing in your way. Chapter 3. This is your wake-up call. Well, the world is numb, and you're sinking in it. Look around you, look closely. Everyone's asleep with their eyes open, and not in beds, but in life. They scroll endlessly. They snack to escape. They complain, compare, and coast through each day. Dead on the inside, pretending to be fine. Mediocrity has become a lifestyle, and people are overdosing on it daily. They live for weekends, celebrate bare minimums, romanticize laziness, and call it self-care. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Comfort is killing us. And most people are too numb to even realize it. But you're here for a reason. You felt something, a spark, an ache. A whisper in your gut that said, hey, there's more to me than this. And that whisper, that's your soul knocking, begging you to wake up. But if you ignore that voice long enough, it goes silent. And when it dies, so does your future. Let me make something brutally clear. Feeling the spark doesn't make you special. It makes you human. But acting on it, that's what makes you rare. Everyone feels that pull toward greatness, but almost no one moves. They wait, they second guess, and they let fear lead. They wait for the right time that never comes. But if you wait too long, your potential turns to pain. And that's a pain that no pill can fix. So want more, be more, not in theory, not in your head, but in your choices, your discipline, your actions, especially when no one's watching. Because greatness, it doesn't grow under the spotlight. It's born in the shadows, in silence. In the grind, no one claps for. So let me ask you something raw. Who are you when it's 4 a.m. and no one's clapping? When the motivation is gone and the world's asleep? Who are you when your phone is dry, no texts, no praise, no applause, and your goals still feel miles away? Who are you when life hits you in the mouth and nothing's going your way? Because that is where champions are built. Not when it's easy, not when it's trendy, not when it's Instagrammable, but in the moments when every part of you wants to quit. And you don't. That's the separation. That's the 1%. You see, the 1% don't need hype. They don't need external energy. They create it. They don't need a sunny day to go to war. They bring their own storm. They don't need a camera in their face to train. They live in the dark because they know. That's where legends are born. They don't run from pain, they use it. While you numb yours, they weaponize theirs. They take heartbreak, failure, rejection, and turn it into fuel. Pain is your teacher. It's not your enemy, and it's the gym where your future self is trained. But here's what most people do when they feel pain. They flinch, they hide, they scroll, they blame the world, but not you, not anymore, because now you know pain is the price, the fire, the test, the gateway to your next level. And you either run through it or stay stuck behind it for the rest of your life. The lie you've been telling yourself. You're not soft. You've just been lying to yourself and telling yourself it's okay to skip the gym, it's okay to sleep in, it's okay to push your dreams off until next week, next month, next year, but it's not okay. Because every time you let yourself off the hook, you become weaker, mentally, physically, spiritually, and soon, you don't recognize the person in the mirror. So here's your wake-up call. You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need another plan. You don't need another perfect time. You need to decide right now, who are you going to be? The truth, nobody's coming to save you. Stop waiting, nobody's coming. And not your parents, and not your friends, and not your coach, not your pastor, not your boss. No one is going to show up and build your dream for you. It's on you. It's always been on you. You are the rescue mission, and you are the answer. You are the fire, and yes, it will hurt. Yes, you'll want to quit it. Yes, it will feel lonely, but guess what? That's the cost of becoming the person you were born to be. Become the person who shows up no matter what. So what now? You get up, you go again, and you show up. Even if your hands are shaking, even if your heart is tired, even if your mind is screaming for comfort. Because greatness isn't about how you feel, it's about who you become when feelings get in the way. The world doesn't need more motivated people. It needs more committed ones. It needs warriors. Built in the dark, forged through pain, driven by mission. Flip the switch right now. You have two choices. You can go back to sleep, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and let your life play on repeat. Or you can flip the switch. Right now, stop lying to yourself. Start moving with urgency. Start fighting like your future depends on it. Because it does. This is your wake-up call, and it doesn't come again. Chapter 4, The Shift, From Excuses to Execution. This is the turning point, right here, right now. This is where your story flips. Not because life got easier, not because you got lucky, not because your problems disappeared, but because you changed. This is the moment you stop saying, why me? And start saying, right, try me. Because you're not the victim anymore, you're the architect. And that shift, that's everything. Victims blame, architects build. Let's break it down. Victims blame the world. Architects build a new one. Victims wait for permission. Architects give themselves the green light. Victims talk about what they lost. Architects focus on what they're building. Victims drown in excuses. Architects rise with execution, and you were never meant to sit around hoping life gets better. You were born to create better. Brick by brick and step by step, and even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, no one is coming, and that's your power. You finally realize something powerful. No one's coming to save you, not your friends, not your family, not your boss, not your government, not even your past self. And once you truly get that, you stop waiting, you stop complaining, you stop praying for a rescue, and you start working on a resurrection because now you understand this is your responsibility. This is your mission, and everything changes the moment you own that. The 99% versus the 1%. Let's be real, most people, 99%, react to life. They wake up late, they scroll before they stretch, they react to their emotions like puppets on a string. They blame their mood, they blame traffic, they blame Monday, but the 1%, they respond. They don't let emotions run the show, they run their emotions. They don't flinch when life throws punches, they pivot, they don't panic, they plan, they don't chase approval, they chase purpose, they don't beg for comfort. They build capacity, and that's the difference. Most people are running from discomfort. The 1% are trained by it. Systems over excuses. You want to know how the 1% stay consistent? How they train every day, execute every plan, and push even when nobody's watching? It's not discipline, and it's not motivation, and it's not some secret ritual, it's systems. They don't make decisions in the moment, they made them months ago. They already decided they were going to show up. They already decided they were going to train. They already decided they weren't quitting, no matter what. So when the alarm rings at 4:30 a.m., they're not asking, do I feel like it? They're too busy becoming who they said they'd be. Most people are ruled by emotion. The elite are ruled by commitment. Decisions build destiny. Every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. So the question is simple. Who are you voting for today? The lazy version of you, the scared version, the average one, or the future legend? The one that doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, and doesn't beg for validation? Your future isn't built by chance, it's built by decisions. Micro decisions, hard ones, the kind nobody claps for. The truth about feeling like it. Let's kill this lie once and for all. You're not always going to feel like it, and that's okay. Do it anyway. Your feelings are valid, but they're not always truthful. Feelings will lie to you. They'll whisper, rest today, you earned it. Even when you didn't, they'll say, skip the gym, you're tired. Even though your goals are starving, they'll say, you're not ready. It's too risky. Even when your dream is dying from neglect, the 1% hear those voices too. They just don't obey them. They show up tired, they show up scared, they show up broken, but they show up because they're not committed to comfort. They're committed to character. Build momentum, not pity parties. Excuses are easy. You can build a mansion out of them if you want. Stack enough pity bricks and you'll have a full-blown palace of regret. But what does it give you? A life half-lived. A legacy that no one remembers. Instead, build momentum. Start where you are with what you have. Even if it's small, even if it's messy, because momentum isn't about speed, it's about direction. And once you're moving forward, even slowly, you become dangerous. Most people wait to feel strong before they act. The 1% act until they feel strong. Don't break promises to yourself. If you tell a friend you'll show up at 6 a.m., you'll move heaven and earth to be there. But when you tell yourself you'll wake up early, you hit snooze. Why? Why do you keep breaking promises to the one person who matters most? You? Every time you let yourself off the hook, you chip away at your identity. Every time you skip the hard thing, you tell yourself, I'm not that person. But here's the truth. Every small act of discipline is a message to your future. It says, I'm serious. I'm ready. I'm building something bigger than my excuses. And over time, those small wins stack and they become a new you. This is the shift. This is what the shift really means. You stop living like life is happening to you and you start living like life is happening through you. You stop reacting to your circumstances and you start creating them. You stop asking for signs and you start being the sign. This is the day you stop being the victim and start being the architect, the designer, the builder, the one who turns pain into power, fear into focus, and excuses into execution. One brick at a time. You don't need to build the entire empire today. You just need to lay one brick with purpose. One workout, one cold shower, 1 hour of deep work, one conversation you've been avoiding, and one decision that says, I'm serious now. Then tomorrow, another brick, and another, and another, until one day you wake up in the house you built, the life you earned, the identity you forged, no magic and just mastery. And it all started with the shift.